Today I'm going to be showing you what I'm doing in the garden in October, what I'm harvesting, what I'm planting, what I'm tidying and how I store my fruit and veg for winter. Welcome to MoggyBoxCraft. I'm Deborah and welcome back to my greenhouse and garden. Hello, here you come as well. Garden's a place to be today because the sun's finally come out. The weather's been bloody awful recently. Do you have to pee in the background of my video? Probably. I've started my prep for winter by hopefully giving the grass a last cut. It's still not looking the best. It's still quite patchy. I usually cut my grass once a week during the summer months, but in the last month I have noticed the grass growth rate, that's quite difficult to say, isn't it? It has slowed right down and not grown nearly so fast. So this should be one of the last cuts the grass gets this year. I probably will have to do it one last time. Do remember not to cut your grass too short at the end of the year. I did that a few years ago and yeah, my grass would suffer for it. So I like to leave my grass a little bit longer as it comes into the winter months, so it doesn't completely all die and go horrid over winter. It's also that time of year to get the old power washer out. I love power washing. There is nothing more satisfying than getting rid of all that grain and sludge and yuck off the paths in the driveway. And our stairs that you can see back there, they are horrible. There's lots of green and yuck on them and just dirt, and the only way to really get it off is by power washing. Are we going to power wash the steps? Okay then. And as you can see, they're looking a lot nicer now. It's amazing how bright and clean the concrete comes up. I know it's concrete, it's not that pretty, but every little helps, doesn't it? I think after this winter, the deck in there behind me will need a paint touch-up, so I will power wash all that next year and deal with it then. I think it's a bit too late to be doing outdoor painting now. Maybe. I've also been tidying up the greenhouse. So most things have now been cleared away in the greenhouse. I've cleaned off my pink planters and a load of pots and just stacked them at the back there. I also have some extra compost for growing things over winter. So now the garden's looking a bit tidier. Let me show you what's been happening in the raised beds. So in this first raised bed, I've got carrots, beetroot, lettuce, courgette and pumpkins down the bottom. The purple haze carrots seem to be doing okay. But these samurai carrots back here are all starting to bolt. Are these all bolting? They are as well. So I did plant the carrots pretty late in the year. The purple haze carrots, I seem to have gotten quite a few of them growing, but I think I only managed to grow 6 samurai carrots and every single one has bolted. And unfortunately, once they bolt, there's not much you can do. Just have to pull them because they ain't going to grow into carrots, unfortunately. So it's a bit of a shame, but I'll hold out some hope for the purple carrots yet. We've got some tiny, tiny beetroots, but the majority of these are just greenery and leaves. So down here I've got saladin and iceberg lettuce and little gem lettuce. The little gem seems to be doing okay. I've got one over there that's bolted. So down here was where all the courgettes were. I've pulled a lot of the plants because they were done for the year. This courgette plant seems to still be doing okay. It's still producing courgettes, so I'm going to leave it to carry on. At the bottom of this raised bed is the pumpkins, and down here is the sugar pumpkins. So they're all growing pretty well. I also grew some zombie pumpkins, and this is the only one I actually have managed to grow this year. It's not fully ripe, it's still very green. This is where it was sat on its side growing on the soil. So the characteristics of the zombie pumpkin are these bobbly marks to make it look a bit gnarly, I think. Very Halloween appropriate, is it not? Unfortunately the plant got damaged, so I've had to harvest this one. So I'm going to leave it in a cool, dark area, so hopefully it will ripen a little bit more and turn orange for Halloween. Fingers crossed. In this bed I've got winter tatties, carrots, parsnips, Brussels sprouts of course, more late planted beetroot and asparagus I don't have a clue what to do with. I'm not going to be harvesting anything from this bed until I actually need it. I think the carrots should be good to harvest from now, but I found when growing carrots for overwinter, the best way to store them is to leave them in the ground and just haul them up when you need them. Obviously as long as there's no frost you'll be fine. If it's frosty, maybe eat something else until it defrosts and you can get them back out again. So the last raised bed, the one behind me there, is the one I lifted my tatties out of last month. So that space doesn't go to waste, I'm now going to be planting set onions and garlic bulbs in there for a harvest next summer. Because I have a lot of cats in the area, they love to dig in the soil and poop in there. So I had put down bamboo to stop them doing that. But I've discovered using this large green chicken wire works a treat, so they don't scratch in it and poop in it. It also works a treat for spacing out my bulbs. So I just cut a piece of the mesh to fit the size of the bed, and then using tent pegs or something resembling tent pegs, I just stake it in place so it doesn't move around. So I'm going to be planting champion set onions. I've got 100 bulbs here, and you just want to make sure when you're planting these that you do put them in root first. So this is what the bottom of the bulb should look like, and it's got this sort of stringy, tufty piece of like weaky bit at the top. I don't know how to describe that. It's like a miniature onion. So using the end of a makeup brush, because that's the only thing I had. Not the fluffy end, the sort of handle end. I just made little holes in the soil and popped in my set onions. And then I did the same for the garlic. I've just bought bulbs of garlic from the grocery store. So I think I bought 6 bulbs of garlic, split them up, and using the same technique with the end of the makeup brush, just made a hole. So just remember to put them in the right way around. This is the bottom of the garlic here, and this is the top. And just make sure you put them in that way round, or they won't grow so well. So I've just spaced them out using the mesh as a bit of a guide, quite handy indeed. And then I've just gone back, covered them all up, and of course watered them in. And now we wait until next summer when they're ready to harvest. So there's a few veg that benefit from the cold. Parsnips and garlic, to name but a few. Apparently frost makes parsnips sweeter, and apparently frost makes your garlic split, so you don't end up with just one big clump of garlic. Handy to know, isn't it? I've also been busy harvesting the rest of the carrot flowers, so hopefully I can grow carrots from the seeds next year. So it's quite nice that area is finally cleared. The bed does look quite empty, but yeah, it's just nice to get it tidy, especially as the weather's turning. So this is how the carrot flower heads look after I've picked them. These have been drying for a few days. There are so many bugs on these. It's disgusting. And to help them dry a little bit more, I've just been cutting off the heads. Sometimes it's as easy as just do it like this. I have popped them on top of this radiator and popped the bag on top in an attempt to dry them out a little bit. Obviously I'm not leaving this unattended. The heater is on a very low heat. It's only for short periods of time. There's so many bugs and spiders and everything. I don't really know what else to do apart from dry the carrots and hope the bugs leave. Equally, I want to dry the carrot seedlings so they don't go mouldy over winter. That's my plan for the carrots at the moment. I guess we'll wait and see how it pans out. I've also been harvesting the pears. Apparently you don't want to let them ripen on the tree. You want to harvest them and put them somewhere cold and dark and let them ripen by themselves for the next month, and then they should be good to keep and eat over winter. We shall see. I'm going to finish harvesting the pears and then I'm going to get on with harvesting the apples so we can make cider. Yum. They're not for you. Let's put them away so you can't eat them. So to store my veg over winter, I have them in this beautiful ottoman. I got this ottoman for an upcycling project, but until such times and over winter it can store my veg instead. So in here I've got the garlic in a cardboard box, and down here under the garlic is the onions. I've just got the onions wrapped in a towel. That'll keep them cool and dark. I just pop the garlic in a box on top of them, and next to the garlic I've got the tatties. So they should keep good over winter in here. Pop all the lids back on, pop the lid back on the ottoman, and now they should stay great over winter until I've got a chance to eat them. So now I've got everything that I've harvested in storage for winter, it is time to plant some more winter veg. So I'm going to be using propagators to grow vegetables over winter in the greenhouse. I got these trays from B&Q and some extra compost. So I'm going to be growing spring onions, variety Performer. This is what they look like. So I'm just going to sprinkle them all over the tray, and if they grow I will put them into separate containers or separate pots later on. I'm also going to be growing these onions, Alicia Craig's. So this is what they look like. So I'm also just going to sprinkle them all over the tray, top it with a little bit of compost, water them in. To get the onions to germinate, I'm going to be popping that propagator on a heat mat so they're warm enough in my greenhouse, because it is October after all. And in a separate propagator, I've got another one of these trays, again filled it with compost. I'm going to be sowing lettuce, variety Winter Density. This is what the seeds look like. Sprinkle them over the top of the compost, top it up with a little bit of compost, water them in and pop a lid on top. So the lettuce seedlings don't need a heat mat. So they're in the propagator here with no heat mat because I don't want them to go leggy. The propagator with the onions does have a heat mat underneath it. It's been about a week now since I planted these. The lettuce is fairly sprouting. And this is the onions. Spring onions are looking pretty good, as is the onions. So hopefully I'll be able to eat some of this over winter. Well, the spring onions and the lettuce. The onions I'm hoping will be big enough by next spring maybe, or autumn, to plant outside. And then this time next year, I'll plant these out in my raised beds for over next winter. Because set onions are expensive. So if I can grow onions from seed, that will be much more cost effective. And of course, after harvesting the potatoes, I've got loads of these wee tatties left over. So I thought I would do a wee experiment and see if I can grow more tatties over winter in buckets. I'm going to use the same buckets I used earlier in the year to grow tatties in. I got these buckets really cheap, drilled some holes in them, so with some fresh compost, put a layer down, added a few tatties, put another layer of soil down, added some tatties, so on and so forth, topped up with soil and watered them in. So the white tatties are a Charlotte potato and the red ones are rooster. I know these tatties are really tiny, but I'm not angry at a small tatty. If I get some good little tatties over winter for Christmas, I'll be delighted. So here are my 3 buckets of potatoes in the greenhouse. These 2 are Charlottes, and in here we've got roosters. I'm just really curious to see if this will work and I can use up some of these little tatties and they will grow into something edible. Obviously I've tried to pick out the best ones to use. So now we wait. I've also got an avocado plant that I've been growing for about a year now, and that's on a heat mat too in the greenhouse now for winter. So we'll see how that goes, if it survives the cold, because I can't seem to get them to survive outside or inside. I don't know. Is my house too warm and outside is too cold in Scotland? I don't know, maybe. Although I am making a separate video about the avocado, so let's hope that goes well. Hope your gardens are growing well and you're all prepared for winter. Are you growing any winter veg? If you are, let me know in the comments below what you're growing, because I'd love to hear about what else I could potentially grow over winter. Although I do live in a cold climate, there is always options, surely. If you've enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment, share and subscribe. Of course, subscribing is optional, but it is very much appreciated. So thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Oh, does that sun have to come back out? I could do with a bit more cloud. It's better when it's a bit cloudy, isn't it? And of course, after harvesting... Oh, I've just lost a tatty, or no.